there? So historically, I think Stephen reached out to the CNCF and asked whether we can get a paid instance of Slack. And the CNCF, I believe, replied with essentially a no, that we should just move over to the CNCF Slack instance. And then it basically became this like conversation about newer versus older like capabilities of Slack. Because I think, they have this like new way that you could share workspaces, right?
Yeah.
Actually embed them or whatever. And I think that was more or less what we were aiming to do, to like keep our own set of information and structure for everything. But ultimately that kind of just fell apart and didn't go anywhere.
Because I know the Paketo Slack, the Six Store Slack, as well as the Cyclone DX Slack, they all have it. So they're all paid, you're saying.
Yes, I would think. Like I know for sure the Paqueta one, it's a little bit easier, um, because it's part of the CFF and VMware or Pivotal really influenced the CFF, right? And they have a lot of buy-in power there. That's my understanding of it as to why that was easier. Either that or like VMware just paid for it. But with the Buildpacks one, because it's a little bit more this, what is it called?
Right, dude?
Managed. Yeah, makes it harder.
It's also because I guess that's also why we don't have history. Like,
Yes,
okay.
it dies off. I mean, it's probably worth bringing up again, right? Just to see if there's anything we want to do. I'm not completely against moving to the CNCF Slack myself, just because there are a lot of other projects that are there, and I feel like being a little bit closer to them is actually like a good thing or net positive. But I do see the downsides of essentially putting everything that we've gotten so far in Slack into one little tiny channel, right? Like that seems very painful.
Is it just one channel that's allowed per project?
Uh, that might not be true. Maybe we could structure where like if it starts with build packs or something like that. Um, that might work.
Yeah. It's gonna be definitely hard to like move all the people over and the past history, I guess.
I mean, we lose history anyway, so I'm not sure how convinced I am that the history needs to be migrated over. But definitely the
I
people.
still have 6 months or something of history though.
Yeah. I'm trying to look for channels.
Learning teams. Like, do you just wanna? Should I just act here the learning team channel just in case, or
Sure. And I'll get our document up and running right now. That red is really sticky.
Slack recently got these bookmarks where you can like create sticky links at the top. I don't know if you want to add like links to the working group notes or whatever for each team. And the
What does that look like? I'm not sure that I've
if you
seen
go
it.
to KPAC, you can see it. I added them because they don't have like a public place where.
Ah, interesting. I like that. It's much better than the pinned links from the past. Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. So we want to go ahead and add those to our thing. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. All right. So I guess we could get started on some of this. Status updates. Just before this meeting, I started looking through, is it import human? I forget.
Yeah.
The
Or
individuals. Do you remember it?
wait, the contributors guide, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So on the docs, he contributed a update where we got the contributors docs up, right? So I went ahead and merged that. I want to give it a polish look, but I didn't want to like hold off depending on how long it took me to get it back to it, because he's been waiting for about a week, 7 days or something like that. So I went ahead and merged that in. I'm thinking about adding tabs or something like that so that it'll be more condensed. But yeah, so that's what I'll be working on a little bit that somewhat relates to the learning team stuff.
Could we move the calendar back up?
Yeah, that's what I'll do. And I think what I'm gonna try is like maybe like the calendar is probably the most important thing. So I'll make it like stand out or band out. I'm not sure that it'll be the first thing that we display, but it should definitely stand out. So I agree.
Apart from that, uh, I recently worked on that reworked concepts page, um, mostly based on feedback I received internally about how hard it was to navigate concepts related to Buildpacks. So the current like concept starting page assumes you have zero knowledge and tries to introduce terms progressively rather than like an alphabetical list of
Right.
concepts that we currently had. So people know where to start with and then build upon that. The only thing missing there is platform, which is the last part that I need to add there, but I think all the other terms have mentioned. Also try to keep like concepts uh, detailed based on how much user facing they are. So you'll see like build packs have a huge section, builders a smaller section, and life cycle is just a very small section
Yeah.
uh, in there. Because when people first see build packs, like and they see life cycle and stuff, they just get confused like what it is. And most of the times it's just a magic binary that they need to put in a certain place. Uh, and sometimes they don't even have to do that. Like pack automatically does it for you. So
Right. No, that makes sense. I did look over this and obviously it looks great. The platform being integrated into that, are there any, do you foresee any like issues with that? Or is it like naturally flow into like, okay, after, the builder, it like naturally flows into the platform, takes the builder and just does all the bits?
That's what I was thinking. So I was like, there's that builder diagram right where the build process is just 3 arrows right now. I was hoping like put the platform in there and tell people that, hey, this is what like the platform's responsible for taking like actually executing all of this and providing the builder with any additional resources it might need, like volumes or whatever else.
So are you stealing, right? Are you stealing all these images from one of the presentations that we had? Is that
Yeah, like I think presentations, I made the builder one myself,
okay?
uh, because the other one I think is the one that's actually used in the builder concepts page, uh, which felt a bit complicated to me because it described the builder toml and like build and run images without
Mhm.
trying to like tell you what it does. Instead of starting from the left, I started from the right where you already have the builder image and
Yeah.
that comes into place. Um, so yeah, like the others are taken from like our past presentations, except for the builder one.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because I was gonna say, I think we have one that has the platform, but to your point, I'm not sure how great it'll be, but it like takes the builder image and the source code, right? And kind of details the platform as something different, maybe.
I think I remember that it also has like a user and like the cache cycle. Is that the one you're talking about? Like it has that the user like a human thing on the side, and there's the output image, and there's a circle around the build
I don't
process.
think I don't think that's the one I'm thinking about. I don't
Oh,
even remember seeing that. So
okay.
yeah, no, yeah, maybe I'll find it and send it to you just to see whether or not that's something you've seen, you looked at. Cool. Yeah, this is great. I guess, is there a way that you could think of that we could track the impact or benefit of this page?
We have. Do we have page-based statistics?
We like page analytics kind of thing. We do have that.
Does it record how far in the page you scroll?
If we actually look at the Google Analytics, it should. But our dashboard probably doesn't. But yeah, I mean, to like you have access to the Google Analytics, right? I think every maintainer or
Yep.
you should be able to.
I think like I can go to Data Studio Google.com and I see the dashboard. I don't know if I can change that or see the but yeah, I can figure it out later.
Yeah, and I guess I'm not sure how we want to like track it, right? It's just something that came to my mind, like, because I know that obviously we put efforts and we have like a lot of high hopes for it. So it'd be nice to like validate like our high hopes were actually warranted or validated. But yeah, because to me that seems like a really good thing, which we still have to get funnels working. But like if you think of the quote unquote funnel, right? Like when they first hop into our website, they go from there to the docs, right? Then from the docs, you want them to either check out the videos, but also go into the concepts page. And then the concepts page, I guess you want them to scroll so that they like fully comprehend that, right? And then what's the action after the concepts? Like, do we
So
want to try it themselves, maybe?
yeah, I think uh, the way I imagine it is you go to the docs page, um, you see like either the video or the concepts, depending on whether you want like a video or like just you want to read something. And then you should have like a hello world or getting started. So there's this your first app sort of thing. Um, we've talked about this in the past, but I feel the impact of Buildpacks would be like would be increased manifold if we switch out the sample builder to one of the actual builders. Like if people could take that and run it against first like a samples repository and then like their actual source code and see that it builds without any instruction, that's like a real powerful way of going from zero to container image in less than like 30 seconds without any additional feedback.
Okay.
So we discussed, I think, in the past having like vendor builders or something um, as like something like people could try out. I don't know what came of that.
So, yeah, I want to maybe take it or ask it slightly different. So the benefit of the sample builder right now is that you don't have to think, right? Like you basically, you just say, okay, copy this command, run it on the sample, and it just works. I see the value of saying, okay, it works on sample, now run it on your application and see if it works, right? Like as a follow-up step. The maybe like question I have is, as soon as we say, oh, like select a builder, right? It like spans out into this like, okay, now I need to look at, do I want to use the Pacato one or the set of Pacato ones, which there's 3 of those, right? The Google one or the Heroku 18 or 20, right? Um,
So the way I look at this as is, at least other documentation websites where you have like you can have a drop down and it renders the page based on your drop down selection. Or like you have tabs and you can pick between the tabs or whatever you want. That would be a possible workflow where like there's a default drop down selection. You view the page there. If you want to switch, you just click that and
yeah, so I get the implementation part of it. That's not really, I guess, my question or concern. My concern is the natural flow, right? Like of this. You're going through this, you're like breezing through it, right? Everything you've done so far, right? Like it has taken very little thinking effort, right? You're just like absorbing all this. And then all of a sudden you get hit by this like, bam, here's 10 builders, select one. And you're like, oh shit, which one, right? And I feel like that goes into a rabbit. Say that again.
currently have a default.
Which one would be a default? see, which one do we want to bias on? No, I'm just kidding. I heard the Pacato ones are really good.
I mean, I am biased as well, but
um, what if we did this? What if it was, you start off with a sample builder and a sample app, and then you say, next step, try it on your code, but let's use a production ready builder, right? And then at that point, that's, so at least you've gotten the first build and you saw how easy and quick it was. And the next step is like, okay, now you actually have to think about what you want to take to production, right? So you're going to actually run this on your app. You actually want to look at the offering of builders and build packs. What do you think about that? You
I
don't
mean,
seem convinced. Go
yeah,
on.
it's just like I personally think in order to show like the magic and the simplicity behind the project, we need people to have like we need to give them some default choice that works on their project. Like just telling them like if you run pack build the app name, it would just work. So in the past we've discussed, I'm getting outside a bit outside of learning team territory, but in the past we've discussed how even before a builder is selected, we could look at like the registry, like if the Buildpacks had information about specific files that they're interested in, like even if they don't, uh, they have more complicated detect procedures that they could just say like I'm interested in this file or whatever. When you're on pack build, if it could just scan through those files and see if it's present in your project, and then like it'll say, hey, found this, press like enter. Like it's the typical like if you're on app-kit, it'll ask you, okay, confirming this, press Y. People typically just press enter, 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 it's done. Or you could just provide like pack build minus Y app name and selects the first one by default, gets it done. And I would assume once we have registry stats, we could pick the default ordering based on number of downloads or whatever.
That's
So,
not bad.
so it won't be biased to a vendor. It would be biased to how many people for a particular language or project use a specific build pack, or like if it comes with bundled with a builder, fine. But that's what my idea was. Like once registry has stats and we have like some way to get a rough heuristic of what a particular build pack looks in a project, we could like simplify this a lot. Like it's like winning because you're popular or whatever. Like
Yeah.
the typical thing.
I'm not completely opposed to that. I definitely feel like there's gonna be some sort of contention and discussion necessary there. But I agree with the sentiment of what you're trying to achieve. I think that that would be extremely valuable. Um, so for maybe in the more short term though, what if we did the workflow that I talked about, right? Like you went through the sample builder with the sample app, then we throw like choices at you, right? And say like, here are all the builders, select one for your actual code as the secondary step. But then to satisfy what I think you were trying to get at in the initial value is, let's say it was even way before all of this, before they even knew the concepts, before they even looked at videos or anything like that. And I think this has really good value for the what's called the returning user, right? Which is basically, what if on our homepage we had, and I think we talked about this, like where you could just take a snippet, right, of like pack build dash dash builder, and you could select what builder you want and run it on your app, right? Does that more or less satisfy the initial intent, but maybe not in the same workflow?
Right? I think we need like a thing on the top. Like people look at all the terms and buildpacks, get confused. If you could just say, run this command and, on your application and let it do its magic, people would then be intrigued at what's happening, and then they'll look at docs and be more interested in the project.
Yeah.
Currently, they just have to go through like this huge learning curve before they even get to the point, hey, I can build stuff with Buildpacks. They first have to know what pack is, what different builder options are, what different vendors for Buildpacks are, which of these is right for my current project, and then like then they get to the fact of, okay, now I can build my container image.
Yeah. No, again, I totally agree, right? I think the biggest contentious point is just what builder to use. And so if we were able to satisfy or remedy that, then yeah, we could totally do that.
It's a bit like sort of like rule of the jungle, where was most popular wins. But I mean, I would assume that works. Like people won't use something like, and then we don't have to choose.
Yeah. Well, how about this? I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I work at VMware. There's like 30,000 employees. What if we like fudge those numbers and all the Paketo ones are the most popular ones, or even just naturally, right? Because VMware just chooses to use Paketo, and just by that nature of magnitude, right? It just and I guess the worst part, again, I'm playing devil's advocate, is because it would be the first one off the gate. It like continuously gradually increases in popularity and starts leaving all the other ones behind.
Do popular in the last month. I mean, there are lots of ways to figure out.
Right. I'm just throwing stuff at you so that you're ready for the arguments, the pushback.
And I would assume that whatever vendors we have right now, at least in the project currently, like it's Google, Paketo, and Heroku, all three of them are large in their own ways. Like Heroku has a really large user base, like app developers, Google. And
yeah. Google.
Paketo you already argued for, so I don't need to.
Yeah. And then yeah, Red Hat, you saw they've got new build packs coming out. So
like, and obviously like people who are on the Red Hat stack will know what to do with it. So
yeah.
I think like if it's a typical app developer, like who's just starting off, they wouldn't care. If it's someone like in enterprise or whatever, or someone who's actually putting things in production, they would definitely want to care and they'll look at the builder choices. But it gives a good hook. Like even if you decide to use a different builder later on because you investigated whatever, still provides a nice hook for users to go and do that investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't have to be that the first builder is the one that's what people eventually use. It's what gets people into the project.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I do wonder of the other avenue. Like this would all be better or more simplified if the Buildpacks project itself actually maintained a builder or set of Buildpacks to some degree, right?
I mean, but those Buildpacks will probably not be language Buildpacks. So
yeah, I mean, it's some of them are overly simplified, but again, I'm not trying to advocate for that. I'm just saying that would resolve a lot of this, right? It's like that could be those could be the defaults, but obviously everybody can and anybody could still use different ones.
I mean, I definitely think we need some sort of Buildpacks, whether they're language specific or not, maintained by the project, so that we dog food or tech. I know, like in the past, we've had bugs in the life cycle that were discovered later on in like production scenarios because like no one was using the O6 API, and then when someone started to use it, they were like, oh damn, caching doesn't work. So I personally think there's value in having some minimal set of Buildpacks maintained by the project that we use for dog fooding, and that also drives us like to think of new use cases and like to see how our API is actually like leading, like what kind of user experience it provides.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think for a while there, Pack was not using Buildpacks to build the Pack image. I don't even know if it is still, but
It does.
okay.
I think it uses the Paketo ones or something.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
Because I
So,
saw a Buildpack YAML there somewhere.
yeah. So it was like very awkward. It's like, okay, yeah, we need to build a pack image. Let's go ahead and build it. And we're like, oh crap, we can't do it with Buildpacks. Crap, this sucks. Yeah. Dog fooding for sure. Okay, so I'm not sure that that has an action item, but I agree with the sentiment. I do have two action items, which is the copy and run command on the homepage, and then kind of again what I'm proposing, but feel free to like push back on saying like sample builder with sample app, and then having to select a prod builder with your application as the next follow-up for that.
I mean, something's better than nothing. Meanwhile, if it gets us out of the status quo, I'm fine with it.
And by all means, I guess, do you want that as another action to propose an RFC where we automatically select a builder in, like, let's say even Pack, right? Like, what if Pack just automatically selected a builder for you? Like, that seems really powerful. Right?
I really wanted that. I think we would need to augment the registry quite a bit. We
Right.
could start with, I mean, that's the RFC for the end goal. I would imagine we need RFCs for like getting there, like all the additions that would need to be made to the registry. I think the other thing you mentioned a while ago is that the way Pack currently gets like Buildpack metadata is through cloning the entire registry and then storing it locally.
Yes.
So it also sort of hampers the statistics that we have on the registry side because we
Yes.
don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and I think that's part of, I know Ben Hill's been asking quite a lot for trying to figure out how to get stats out of the Buildpack registry, but there, I know the historically based on the initial like RFC of why we went with this implementation is to remove the service burden, right? Like we didn't want to have API that wraps around certain stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. What if, I mean, it gets really hairy when you talk about telemetry baked into a CLI tool. People don't like that.
I like it.
But
I,
I'm pretty sure enterprises would be like going haywire if Pack had some like telemetry data it was sending back to the registry.
I find that hard to believe because like G Cloud, Scaffold, a whole bunch of other like, I mean, I'm sure AWS probably does too. Like they all do, but it's like all opt-in type stuff, right? And so I think if we follow that model where it's like, do you opt in for, you know, analytics, anonymized analytics? I don't think a lot of people would have a problem, right? And I get that the numbers wouldn't be like 100% accurate, but like we have no numbers right now, so it'd be better than nothing.
I can definitely start with an RFC and bring it up again to see what others think about having better numbers in the registry. The other option is, so I published a bunch of Buildpacks on GHCR, and I see downloads for the image there, which I think somehow bloated, or there's something weird going on there because all of my Buildpacks have the same number of downloads, and they're all like each of them consistently get 1,000 downloads every day.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know if there's some cron job running that like looks the numbers or I mean it is also plausible because I have all of them in a meta build pack. So it's plausible, but I find it hard to believe that there are 1,000 people using my build pack every day.
Yeah.
Or downloading it, not just using it, downloading it.
Yeah, and I think that's the other problem that we've also found when trying to gather metrics is a lot of the sort of stats are bloated because they're used within CI pipelines for just testing itself, right? Not end user sort of prod stuff or any like realistic number, right? So they are bloated or skewed based on our own pipelines. Yeah.
Same for libraries I maintain. Like I have a couple of testing or like linting libraries in Python. Like since every CI process downloads them, it gets like 1 million downloads a month. And then
Popular, see?
so I'll try to come up with an RFC or something for like at least the back parts, and let's see if like I don't know if for the registry parts we need an RFC or will it just be issues? I don't know how that works because I see there are for the registry like even builders or some other things are just open issues. So not sure if that needs an RFC if it's not a change to the spec.
I think I don't know how that subteam is working, but I think every other subteam is using subteam RFCs. So that's what I would propose, but I would talk to them in case it's an anti-workflow for them. So the RFC itself was just for the builder list or for something else. Sorry, I feel like I missed it.
It was for pack automatically selecting a builder or build pack. So I also wanted like I know Dan we talked about this in one of the last few things, but like improving documentation for build packs and how we can better show like build pack documentation either with packs.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wanted to create an RFC for like some of the things I mentioned, like which environment variables the build pack is configured with or which files and like some other documentation around that. Is he is Dan still involved with the project? I've not seen him.
No, I think he might have taken a sabbatical when he left VMware because I haven't seen him active on GitHub at all. So
so I might also do that RFC just for documentation, like better documentation for build pack, and then this one for like having pack selector.
Yeah, just I guess for historical purposes, please still do so because I think it's valuable to revisit. But I did bring this up like very early on in the project, and that's how we ended up with like a URL, like docs URL or something like that. It was because I was looking for the exact same thing, but through the discussions, it like got really complicated. So we're just like, oh, let's just throw a URL and they'll go find the documentation there.
I think by documentation, I meant more like the files and environment variables it's configured with, more so than like the actual documentation about the build.
Yeah, no, I get it. And again, we walked through that. So I'd be happy to revisit that because I was a proponent for it. But again, there were probably a lot of stuff up in the air that it maybe didn't make sense at that point in time. But I think at this point we might be more mature to be able to do something like that. Cool.
Did we do stale issues and things this time?
No, we didn't. We hopped around a little bit. I was gonna have us go back for that. Cool. So still issues. We want to take a look at those?
Yeah.
Okay, this is sorted by the oldest, is that right? Already?
So do you want to share your screen?
Yes, I could do that. Okay. So operator customizing a builder should be documented.
Yes, I would also find this useful. I'm happy to take that on. I think we just have that as like a thing in Builder Toml that you can put a life cycle in there somewhere. I remember seeing it somewhere, but it's not documented properly. But I'm happy to take this on.
Okay, sounds good.
This is something I had to do.
So should I even say volunteered?
I mean, I had to do myself, like, so I'll just.
Oh, I see. I thought somebody was imposing it on you, like, no, you have to do this.
No. I found it difficult to find how to do this when I first saw it. But after a while, found it somewhere.
Cool. Add legacy documentation. I feel like this is gonna be
Need
something.
for migration or something. Like, yeah. I'm not sure if it's still relevant.
Yeah, I'm actually like sort of against this idea.
I personally think this would confuse a lot of people.
All right. How about this? I'll take an action to fully detail why it's closing. All right, cool. What else?
This seen this somewhere. Is this just in the spec? I think this is also on the stack, like how to create a stack guide, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's. I don't see a path on here.
So can you do like operator create a stack? Should have paths somewhere.
Nope,
No.
I'm not path.
Oh, okay. My bad.
So this is still applicable.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could see if Micah could take this on. I'm sure, I know it's in the RFC, but I'm hoping I could like reel them in to get that one completed. All right, so that's 3. All right, registries.
Can we get someone from the registry to do this?
Yeah, it already has it on their side.
Okay. You want to ping the.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do the contributors.
Don't remember if we have contributors as a superset of maintainers, so they're exclusive from each other.
That's a good question. So you're basically saying put both. So we pinged.
Last one. Wait, did we do image signing?
Oh, sorry, skipped over that. Ooh, I want to take this on security folk. I like it. So the question is whether we want to use notary or like just start pushing cosign.
I don't know anyone who's like using Notary at this point. Like at least Notary V1.
Yeah. Document signing images. Honestly, I do wonder if this is even something relevant to the
To
project.
us.
Yeah.
I think until Pack has support for image signing, I don't think we should go out of our way, like to show people how to sign any OCI. Pretty sure there are lots of tutorials for that. Until like we build something into Pack, how do we find like either deferring it or
The only thing I was going to say, I think this is still valuable, but as like maybe a blog post, right? Like that would give us a lot of really nice marketing value and also satisfy this by providing some sort of guide for others to use. How do we want to do this? Because like I actually want to build the blog post.
I think you know what? This may be like a good thing to rope six store people into. I don't know if you're gonna go with cosign or notary, but they're planning a 1.0 release, and they also want a lot of hype. I mean, well-deserved hype around it. I don't know if you want to coordinate it with like, hey, 6.1.0 is out. You use it with Buildpacks, so it's like double hype for both us and them.
How much? So I guess what are you thinking? Are you thinking that they could write a blog post on our, on our behalf, on our thing?
Either way, I know Dan is very receptive to these things, so just like he's on the Buildpacks Slack, you can just ping him.
Okay.
And he does a lot of posts, like he does one every week or something for like image signing or whatever. Maybe we can just rope him in or like do a collab post between Buildpacks and Six Store.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to Joe, see what he thinks of the idea, because he's our marketing point person. And then either see if he wants to reach out to him, or I don't mind reaching out. But I want to definitely get Joe's buy-in before we go down the path. Does that make sense? I'm gonna close this for now then, and then just follow up with that.
Yeah.
Cosine. Ciao. All right. Cool, cool. All right. I think that takes us to the end of that. Do we have any still PRs? No still PRs. And then any unlabeled issues? None. Cool. All right. With that said, we have 3 minutes and I do have a follow-up meeting. So do you mind if we ended a little early?
And
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Sam. All right. Have a good one.
yeah.